My name's Guy Kesteven, and today I'm unboxing the Cane Creek Helm Mk2 suspension fork. Now, the original Helm came out about 3 years ago, 27.5 only to start with, then a 29er version came out, and then a coil sprung version as well. So the actual chassis of this fork has changed. Well, it hasn't really, apart from the fact there's a new Allen key removable axle now at the bottom. It's not a slightly curious sort of cam lock setup, which did used to get a bit temperamental when it's dirty. It's still got this flat-sided D-lock detailing on it, which, you know, take it or leave it. It doesn't really cause offence, but it obviously makes the axle specific to this fork. But then that's the case with pretty much every fork manufacturer. But it's a lot. It already feels a lot easier to use, and hopefully it'll be less susceptible to dirt getting in there and jamming it, which is the problem with the old system. Apart from that, it's still 35mm legs, and it comes in a 29er version, which is 130mm to 160mm travel, or a 27.5, which is 130mm to 170mm travel. The 29er is available in 51 and 44mm offset, 27.5 just in 44mm offset. As you can see, some nice external touches include just having a marked ladder, sort of tide mark on the steerer there, so you can cut it off to the required length. And yeah, they're all tapered as you'd expect. And also, this new version has more pleasant to move dials. I mean, they're not gold like the old ones, but everything's just been smoothed out a little bit at the top end, and there's a little bit of spring loading in there. That feels very, very... I mean, it is a real precision piece of engineering, this, and it feels like it now as well. So that's a good thing externally. But there is a lot... oh, and final thing, weight. It's just over 2 kilos uncut for this 29er or 27.5 plus version. So on the heavy side for a 35mm fork. You know, it's there with Yari, it's there with Lyric, it's there with 36. Slightly heavier than Pike and 34. But then I've always found it to be a fork that steers really predictably and accurately, and I've ridden it a lot, so that's no problem for me, actually carrying a bit more weight. But while the chassis is relatively unchanged, there are changes both sides in terms of air spring and in terms of damping. So the air spring has been redesigned. It's got more volume. I mean, it's still a positive and negative setup. So if you look under here, I mean, obviously positive, the main air caps at the top, as you'd expect on most forks. But then at the base here, you've got a little sort of, it's like a Presta valve. You can see it up close. A little pressure reset button there. So you unscrew it, and once you set the pressure in the top end, you can reset that. So rather than having a dimple inside, so it kind of automatically sets the negative pressure, you can actually manually control the negative pressure against the positive pressure, so you can have a little bit more sensitive or a little bit less sensitive in that initial start stroke. They've also changed. They've also increased the volume of the air spring, you know, in the same way that RockShox have done and Fox have done, and kind of everybody's moving towards that for a more supple start to the stroke. You can still get it in a coil spring version as well. And the other thing, just reaching into the box. You can do nice and easy. It comes with this little gold add-on here that slides onto the spring shaft, and that controls your air spring volume. So you can, although it's larger overall, you can still shrink it down if you need to. You know, rather than using bottomless tokens, you just get a little seal that you slide up and down on the shaft, and those little spaces in there are just easy clip-on travel reduction tokens. So you get 2 with the fork, but you can order more, and it's a really simple strip-down procedure, just to carefully open the fork up, clip a couple of tokens on, and then put it back together. I mean, so, you know, that's a really, really simple process to go through if you want to take the fork travel down to 130mm, you know, which is super handy. Just, you know, it's just another thing that makes the fork more versatile, as well as that spring independence. And then on the damper side, it's a new damper. It's still a sealed cartridge, but it's got a new compression valve, and it's got a new mid valve as well, designed to kind of speed things up and provide more range of adjustment, and also to give more support in the mid stroke. So you've still got high and low speed compression adjustment on the top, and you've still got rebound adjustment on the bottom. So a ton of adjustment in there in the damper as well. and they've also switched to new SKF seals as wiper seals and in the damper seal as well. So that reduces friction, and they've dropped the oil weight down to 2.5. So that should free everything up as well in terms of movement. I mean, to be fair, if you rode hard or you were a heavier rider, you'd have probably found the Cane Creek spot on anyway. I mean, I really liked it. It was one of my favourite forks. You know, when it came out, and I continued riding it, and I've always, I've ridden it a lot on Cotics in particular because it's a spec option on all Cotic bikes, and I've always been really impressed with the performance of it. But some people thought it was a little overdamped if you're a lighter or less aggressive rider. So this, the lighter compression tune in there, the lighter weight oil, the freer moving seals should all make it even more sensitive. And unfortunately, Extra did try and get me the hot pink launch edition, but there are only 50 of those sets available, so I've got standard issue black. But to be honest, it'll probably go a little more sensitively into the pace when I get it fitted into there. So price is $8.99. So again, competitive with Lyric, competitive with Fox 36, and from initial reviews I've read, it sounds like it's competitive on the trail as well. But like I say, I think I've said about 3 times now, I was always a fan of this fork. The only fly in the ointment was that axle, which is now fixed. But with more adjustability, a more sensitive stroke, a wider range of damping adjustment now, and easy travel adjust, easy spring balancing, sort of beyond the scope of most forks in terms of that negative spring. Hopefully this is going to be even better, right up there with the leaders on the trail. So, hope you've enjoyed watching this. If you're not already a subscriber, click for subscriptions and hit the bell button for notifications. Massive thanks to Extra for sending this fork in for test. Big thanks to my Patreon subscribers, whose names are scrolling up now, who pledge a small amount of money on a monthly basis to get extended behind the scenes and early releases of my edits. And if you could consider supporting me on there, if you like what I'm doing, that will be fantastic. It really is just literally the price of a cup of coffee and a cake each month, the minimum sign up for that. And it's growing, which is great because that makes the channel more sustainable, and it means people like Cane Creek and Extra, the UK distributor, are keener to send stuff in. So, thanks for watching. I've been Guy Kesteven on Guykes TV, unboxing Cane Creek's new Helm Mk2.